Breaking news. Donald Trump trade war. U.S. issues major warning to China ahead of tariff talks. Donald Trump's top economic advisor has warned China not to underestimate the U.S. leader's resolve to win the ever-escalating trade war between the world's two largest economies. Larry Kudlow said Beijing must agree to change its trade practices or face further tariffs on Chinese-made products. His comments come as China announced it will send a delegation to Washington next week. The trade war has already seen both nations impose tariffs on $34 billion worth of each other's goods, with a further $16 billion in levies scheduled to kick in on August 23. Mr. Kudlow, who heads the White House Economic Council, did not comment on the specific goals of the talks. He told CNBC, "It is a good thing if they're sending a delegation here. We haven't had that in quite some time. The Chinese government in its totality must not underestimate President Trump's toughness and willingness to continue this battle, to eliminate tariffs and non-tariff barriers and quotas, to stop the theft of intellectual property and to stop the forced transfer of technology." Both Washington and Beijing confirmed the talks will take place on August 21 and 22, just a day before the next round of tariffs from both sides are slated to take effect. But there is still a wide gap between the two sides over the Trump administration's demands to improve market access for U.S. firms and slash a $375 billion trade deficit with China. Analysts have warned the two-day meeting in the U.S. Capitol is unlikely to provide a breakthrough because they are being led by lower-level officials than those who have taken part in previous talks. Scott Kennedy, Deputy Director of the Freeman Chair in China Studies at the Center for Strategic and International Studies in Washington, said he did not have high hopes ahead of the meeting. He said in a tweet, "This looks like it will be a waste of time for the two govts, especially China's, who thinks U.S. Treasury Department is empowered to make the deal to end the trade war." China and the United States have been locked in an escalating trade war in recent weeks, with both sides pledging to meet further tariffs with retaliatory measures of their own. President Trump has long complained of the U.S. trade deficit with China and has championed tariffs as a way to strike great new trade deals. In a tweet this week, he said, "Our country was built on tariffs, and tariffs are now leading us to great new trade deals, as opposed to the horrible and unfair trade deals that I inherited as your president. Other countries should not be allowed to come in and steal the wealth of our great USA no longer." He has previously warned he is prepared to hit $500 billion worth of Chinese goods with tariffs if need be, the total amount sold by Chinese firms to the U.S. last year. Meanwhile, China has accused the U.S. of blackmail and vowed it would not back down in the face of pressure from Washington.